Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury is on par, according to Spencer Brown. No, Spencer Oliver. There's a lot of Spencers in the game of boxing. And let me counterpunch. I agree with Spence. I think that both of those guys at this point, one, you can't look at one over the other. You know what I mean? If you were, it's just real nitpickish to do so because they've both lost to the same people, and even the fighters that AJ lost to, like Andy Ruiz and Danny Dubois, Tyson Fury's never fought or challenged to see how that will go anyway. So, you know, everybody got beat by Alexander Usyk, to be fair. And these guys are former champions that haven't ever fought each other. And I think to help a fight possibly happen between AJ and Tyson Fury, that has to be established, because all you're seeing is a bunch of ego. You know, Tyson, oh, he's a big bodybuilding Dawson. He got knocked out by Danny Dubois. Danny Dubois got knocked out by Alexander Usyk, and everybody else, including you, Tyson, has been beaten by Usyk too. Whereas AJ, it's like, okay, well, he's not fighting this year anyway, so pretty much, you know, the defeat last year on top of the injury has pushed his time coming back a bit further. So, you know, him fighting Tyson Fury, I think, would make more sense, and it's on an even playing field based on the fact also that none of them has been in the ring since last year. So if that's the case, no one has a one-up on anyone, because normally you would favor the guy that's more active, that's in the game right now. Well, they're not in the game. They're in recess, recovery, or whatever, retirement, like Tyson claims. And I have to agree with the way their careers are and the things that they've done, the things that they didn't do. You know, remember with Tyson Fury, you had the loss, or should I say the controversial win of Francis Ngannou. And a lot of people thought he lost that fight to a guy that's never stepped foot in the ring. He got dropped in the third round. You know, a lot of people were saying his legs are shot and gone and all that stuff. And, you know, he really had to fight or flight. Hell, I think he did a little bit of both to stay in there with Francis in that 10 rounds, because Francis was coming, you know. And then even though Francis got knocked out by AJ even the score when he got knocked out by Danny Dubois. So both of those guys took their share of losses. You know, Tyson lost back-to-back. Joshua lost back-to-back to the same person. You know, Tyson gets beat up by Francis Ngannou. AJ gets knocked out by Danny Dubois. They're both even on par. So I do agree, and I think because of that, you know, I think we have a pretty even fight between the two. Because really, Tyson in his last fight, he looked slower and he looked stiffer than he did in the first fight with Alexander Usyk. So if we compare those two fights of him to each other, it's like he's declining. AJ looked like he didn't even really want to fucking be there, but he did get caught early. But then, you know, his recovery sucks anyway. We learned that from the Andy Ruiz fight. He does not recover well. If you hurt AJ, it takes him a while to get back in there. And we learned that from the Vladimir Klitschko fight, because it took him 3 or 4 rounds to just, you know, come back and do his thing in the 11th. So, yeah, I think that both fighters respectfully, you know, are on the same level. So since they're on the same level, let's get it on. But you guys tell me what you think of Talk Sports Radio host Spencer Oliver stating that they are both on an even playing field. I do agree. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.